You are listening to Words Between Worlds, a podcast that brings you stories full of kindness, voices that spark warmth, and friendships that cross cultures and generations. Join us on this journey as we discover new worlds of meaning by sharing messages of hope that rage across continents. I'm your host, Li Qing. That song you just heard is called Taihu Lake is Beautiful. Taihu Lake is located in Jiangsu province in eastern China. The song's most famous line tells us that the beauty of Taihu Lake lies in its water. But if you had visited the lake just a couple of decades ago, that lyric might have sounded more like a memory than a reality. An important source of drinking water for some 17 million people in eastern China, Taihu began suffering from mountain pollution in the 1990s as rapid industrialization and urbanization transformed the region. Severe algal blooms fueled by nutrient pollution became a persistent problem. At its worst, more than half of the lake's surface was covered by a thick layer of toxic grain scum. Part of the problem lies in Taihu's natural conditions. As a shallow lake, it has a limited capacity to absorb pollution. The lake bed is extremely flat, so even a light wind can stir up the sediment below. When that sediment is disturbed, it releases stored nitrogen and phosphorus back into the water, providing a constant supply of nutrients for algae. The surrounding geography makes matters even more complicated. Taihu sits in a flat plain crisscrossed by rivers, where water flows slowly, limiting the lake's ability to cleanse itself. These conditions make it particularly vulnerable to algal blooms. Then there's the economic context. The Taihu Basin lies at the heart of the Yangtze River Delta, one of China's most economically dynamic regions. Here, just 0.4% of the country's land produces around 10% of its total economic output. For many years, that intensity of development also meant heavy pollutant discharge, pushing the lake into a chronic state of nutrient overload, what scientists call eutrophication. Since 2007, Jiangsu province has implemented a series of measures to tackle the problem. These include tighter controls on phosphorus emissions from industries close to the lake, expanded wastewater collection and treatment systems, and a broader shift towards high-tech and less polluting industries. To deal with wastewater, authorities have built 32,000 kilometers of sewage pipelines, equivalent to about 80% of the circumference of the Earth. This intensive network has greatly reduced the levels of household pollution flowing into the lake. At the same time, large-scale wetland restoration projects have strengthened the lake's natural resilience. So far, more than 30 ecological buffer zones and 190 wetland conservation areas have been established. Li Mingxia is the deputy director of the agency responsible for monitoring the Taihu Basin environment. During a group interview organized by the State Council Information Office, she shared her experience.
我们坚守一线，无论严寒酷暑，常年在流域的河湖沟渠、田间地头与场站码头。
We stand guard on the front lines. Regardless of the freezing cold or the scorching heat, our patrols never stop. Year-round, we inspect rivers, lakes, and drainage channels across the basin, as well as nearby farmland, industrial facilities, and docks. We pry open manhole covers, climb over walls, and crawl into culverts to uncover hidden risks. Our job is to identify problems as soon as they appear, report them immediately, and safeguard the basin's ecological security through strict oversight.
Most of Taihu's water flows in from upstream, so Li's team works to trace pollution back to its sources, urging local governments to strengthen pollution treatment and restore ecosystems in order to reduce the pollutants entering the lake. During algal bloom season, they carry out weekly inspections and help implement a block, divert, collect, and control system designed to clean new algal growth as quickly as possible. By monitoring sewage outfalls and industrial parks, they identify weak links and promote coordinated treatment of industrial, agricultural, and domestic pollution. At the same time, they guide efforts to restore aquatic vegetation and establish ecological buffer zones close to the lake, strengthening its natural capacity for self-purification. At the national level, a cross-agency joint committee helps break down institutional and regional barriers. Regular governance forums encourage cooperation among cities across the basin, enabling them to address Taihu's pollution together. Li said she and her colleagues have consistently focused on resolving environmental issues that directly affect people's daily lives.
2021年起呢，我们以水系为单元，开展了太湖上游的专项
Since
核查。
2021, we have carried out special inspections in river systems that feed into Taihu Lake, targeting prominent water pollution issues that generated strong public complaints. Over the past 5 years, we have identified 114 typical problems. By urging local authorities to use these cases to drive broader action, we addressed urgent public concerns such as black and odorous water bodies and untreated sewage discharge. Environmental protection is a practical undertaking for the benefit of the people, and improving the public's sense of satisfaction with the environment remains our mission in water governance and protection.
The results have been striking. In 2024, for the first time in 3 decades, the lake's average water quality reached grade 3 on China's 5-tier water quality scale, meaning it was rated as fairly good. The lake has now maintained that level for 2 consecutive years. Taihu's recovery is part of a much broader national effort to restore China's rivers and lakes. Li sees the lake's revival not as an isolated success, but as part of a larger transformation.
大家可能也都关注到了，2015年到
You may
2025
have noticed that from 2015 to 2025, the proportion of national surface water rated grade 1 to 3 rose by 26.9 percentage points, reaching 91.4%. That's 10 consecutive years of improvement. And as someone on the front lines of basin supervision, I've witnessed this transformation firsthand. In earlier river inspections, underwater plants were almost nowhere to be seen, and only the occasional fish appeared. Now, underwater forests of aquatic vegetation are returning, with water plants swaying and fish and shrimp weaving among them as rivers and lakes come back to life.
These changes reflect China's broader commitment to ecological conservation. In a congratulatory letter to the National Event for Environment Day in 2022, Chinese President Xi Jinping wrote that the natural environment is the basis for human survival and development, and to preserve a sound ecological environment is a shared aspiration of people of all countries. He called on the whole party and the nation to maintain strategic focus on strengthening ecological conservation, endeavor to effect a green transformation in all aspects of social and economic development, coordinate efforts to address pollution, protect ecosystems, and respond to climate change, and work hard to build a beautiful China where humanity and nature exist in harmony, so as to make further contributions to building a clean and beautiful world. This commitment is also being reinforced through stronger legal frameworks. At this year's annual meetings of China's top legislature and top political advisory body, known as the Two Sessions, China's Ecological and Environmental Code was released. The code aims to integrate existing environmental laws into a more unified legal system for ecological protection and to lay a solid legal foundation for pursuing Chinese modernization characterized by harmony between humanity and nature. Qiu Jinghui, Deputy Director of the Public Interest Litigation Department of the Supreme People's Procuratorate, shared his perspective in an interview with Beijing Review.
In my view, the greatest contribution of the code is that it incorporates the essence of traditional Chinese culture, especially the long-standing idea of harmonious coexistence between humans and nature. This philosophy is reflected in ecological and environmental development. In other words, the ecological environment is not only an environmental right, it also places greater emphasis on public health. Ultimately, environmental protection is centered on protecting people. It is an investment in people, in high-quality human development, and in the health of every individual. Therefore, protecting the environment means protecting our own health, as well as the health of future generations.
As Qiu put it, protecting the environment is ultimately about protecting people, our health, our quality of life, and the legacy we leave for future generations. A clean Taihu Lake is never just about the water. It is about the communities that live alongside it, the children who grow up by its banks, and the shared aspiration of all people for a healthy, livable world. And today, the old lyric that the beauty of Taihu lies in its water is beginning to ring true once again, and that beauty is a promise kept and a promise still unfolding. Thanks for joining us on this journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share. Until next time, this has been Words Between Worlds, bringing voices together, one story at a time.